The food is the problem. It's the food. You got to fix the food.
They're paying cancer researchers to figure out why do Americans have more prostate cancer. They have heart disease researchers trying to figure out why do we have so much heart disease. And at the same time, they're saying more cheese, more milk, more meat, more sugar, more unhealthy foods.
You've got questions, we've got answers. Discover natural ways to kill cancer cells, reverse heart disease, and balance blood sugar. Defeat autism, chronic fatigue, and memory issues naturally. We'll reveal natural cures and non-toxic solutions for you and your family. Millions of people are learning the secrets to vibrant health and longevity. Protect you and your family. Stay informed.
Even so, they ultimately reached a revolutionary conclusion: that many of our most crippling conditions could be greatly reduced, if not completely eradicated, simply by eating what they call a whole foods, plant-based diet. This means consuming foods that come mainly from whole, minimally refined plants, such as fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes. It also means avoiding animal-based foods, such as meat, dairy, and eggs, as well as processed foods like bleached flour, refined sugars, and oil. Campbell and Esselstyn's research in this field would change their lives forever.
You know, we tend to think of advances in medicine as being a new drug, a new laser, something really high-tech and expensive. And we often have a hard time believing that the simple choices that we make in our lives each day, like what we eat, how we respond to stress, how much exercise we get, and perhaps most important, how much love and intimacy that we have in our lives, that these simple choices can make such a powerful difference, but they do. That our bodies have a remarkable capacity to begin healing themselves, and much more quickly than we had once realized. And in this sense that lifestyle can not only be preventing diseases, but actually treating them, sometimes with drugs, sometimes in place of drugs, sometimes more effectively than drugs.
Even though the most widely accepted, well-established chronic disease practice guidelines uniformly call for lifestyle change as the first line of therapy, physicians often do not follow these guidelines. Yet lifestyle interventions are often more effective in reducing heart disease, hypertension, heart failure, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and deaths from all causes than almost any other medical intervention.
Now, when people think about whole plant-based foods, we've known for a good long time, our grandmothers told us and mothers told us that it prevents future disease. But it's not only about using this diet to prevent future disease, and here is the kicker. Here's the thing that really matters that the public tend not to know. It's also about using this same kind of diet to actually treat existing disease. And I think this is a really important concept because it goes right to the core of what a healthcare and medical care system is all about. Here's a list of diseases, for example, that one can find in the legitimate scientific literature, in the peer-reviewed literature. Here are diseases that have been documented to be affected by a whole food plant-based diet. That is to say, this kind of diet prevents, suspends, that means stops the further progression, or cures all of these diseases. We can now cure heart disease in fairly late stages. We can cure type 2 diabetes in a very short period of time.
The nutrients that are typically found in plants tended to prevent cancers of different kinds.
They all had halted their disease. There was no progression.
They change their diet. That's the only thing they do. And their diabetes gets better and better and better. In some cases, you just can't detect it anymore.
This plant-based effect also happens very fast. Plant-based diet has an ability to repress almost all kinds of diseases.
Don't look to the cancer industry for a cure. The cure for cancer is right inside you. And the only way to win your personal war on cancer is to strengthen your immune system by changing your diet. Plant foods are the only foods that strengthen the immune system and contain cancer-fighting nutrients. So a change to a plant-based diet turns out to be the only real cure for cancer we have. The strongest cancer-fighting medicines on the planet don't have scary names, and they're not found in hospitals, but in your humble grocery store.
And take on cancer next. What's the latest? Well, we know from the largest forward-looking study on diet and cancer ever performed by humanity, the incidence of all cancers combined lower among vegetarians than meat eaters. What happens if you put cancer on a vegan diet? Well, the Pritikin Research Foundation just completed this elegant series of experiments, which I want to spend a bit of time on. Simple experiments. They put people on different diets, draw their blood, and then drip their blood on cancer cells growing in a petri dish, and just stood back to see whose blood was better at suppressing cancer growth. They are the ones that published that study showing that the blood of those on a vegan diet was dramatically less hospitable to cancer. Now, even the blood of those on a standard American diet fights cancer. I mean, if it didn't, everybody'd be dead, right? It's just that the blood of those eating vegan fights about 8 times better.
It's the disease that you fear most, cancer. And your ability to fight it lies in one of the biggest buzzwords in health, antioxidants. Today, we're fighting the war on cancer with prevention, antioxidant prevention. You get to be a free radical. Okay? So I want you to take your free radical power, and I want you to knock off these balloons. I want you to show what it can do to DNA when the DNA is not protected and free radicals can attack it. Go ahead, whack away. I know. One more. And what happens? It begins to get very, very unstable. Now, if I don't hold it, it's going to collapse. Now, what ends up happening when you lose all of this power is that you begin to make the errors I'm speaking about. Then, the body has to develop a technique to protect it. It's called an antioxidant. So I'm going to be the antioxidant now. And my job is to prevent you from knocking off the remaining pieces of this, right? Otherwise, the whole thing collapses and we're done. You're going to have oxidation. You're going to have stress in your life. The kids are going to get you tired. You're going to have issues at work. That's going to happen. You're going to eat foods that aren't always perfect for you. I'm okay with that. But you got to have the antioxidant back up to come in there and defend you. So go ahead, not try to take it away. There. Go on, one more time. Try to get at it. She's hard, all right? You can't get there, right?
Nervous.
Just take it back up there. Try to get it. Right. The free radicals are fast and they're quick, but the antioxidants are your natural mechanisms that we have always had for all of our existence. Every human being ever created has had antioxidants that can protect us from the world around us. That's why this is so critical. Antioxidants are found in many fruits and vegetables, and they might just be your body's ultimate secret weapons against cancer. Joining me is one of my all-time favorite guests, cancer prevention pioneer, Dr. William Li. Dr. Li, thank you very much for joining us as always. Talking about antioxidants and how they prevent cancer.
Well, antioxidants are natural protective molecules that Mother Nature has laced into a large number of foods. And there are literally thousands of different types of antioxidants, but they all do pretty much the same thing. They protect our DNA in healthy cells from the type of damage caused by free radicals, which are harmful chemicals that our body absorbs from things like cigarette smoke or pollution or fried foods or other sources of the environment. So antioxidants protect our DNA against the kind of damage that can cause cancer.
What is the most important molecule that you need to stay healthy and prevent disease? Hi, this is Dr. Mark Hyman. Welcome back. Now, why have most of you never heard about this? And why is it the secret to prevent aging, cancer, heart disease, dementia, and more? And why is it necessary to treat everything from autism to Alzheimer's? And why are there over 76,000 medical articles about it, and your doctor doesn't know how to address the epidemic deficiency of this critical life-giving molecule? What is it? It's the mother of all antioxidants, the master detoxifier, and the maestro of the immune system. It's called glutathione. The good news is your body produces its own glutathione. The bad news is that our poor diet, pollution, toxins, medications, stress, trauma, aging, infections, and radiation all deplete your body's glutathione levels. And this leaves you susceptible to unrestrained cell disintegration from oxidative stress and free radicals, to infections and cancer, and your liver gets overloaded, making it damaged and unable to do its job of detoxification. But over the years, I've come to realize that our ability to produce and maintain a high level of this glutathione molecule in our bodies is critical to recovery from nearly all chronic illness, and to prevent disease, and to maintain optimal health and performance. And so have the authors of the 76,000 medical articles on glutathione. So keeping yourself healthy, boosting your performance, preventing disease and aging will depend on keeping your glutathione levels high. So the reason that glutathione is so important is that it's responsible for keeping so many of the keys to ultra wellness optimized. It's critical for immune function and controlling inflammation. It's the master detoxifier. It's the main antioxidant and protects our cells and our energy metabolism. good news is you can do a lot of things to increase this natural and critical molecule in your body. So you can eat glutathione-boosting foods, you can exercise, and you can take glutathione-boosting supplements. All right, so let's talk about what to eat. What should you eat if you want to boost glutathione? First, I want you to enjoy sulfur-containing foods. And the main ones are garlic and onions and the broccoli family, your cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, kale, collards, cabbage, cauliflower, watercress, all these great foods that are full of powerful sulfur-containing molecules. Okay, what about exercise? What type of exercise? Well, exercise is pretty straightforward. So not over-exercise, because that depletes glutathione, but regular exercise boosts your glutathione and helps your immune system and so on. So start slowly, build up to 30 minutes a day of vigorous aerobic exercise like walking or jogging or sports, which I like tennis or basketball. Strength training, 20 minutes 3 times a week is also helpful. And lastly, you can take some glutathione-boosting supplements.
The anti-inflammatory diet is one that addresses most of the chronic illnesses that we wind up suffering from in this country. Those illnesses like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, all have their root in inflammation that is directly related to our diet and our lifestyle. One of the most significant changes that we can make is to increase the plant base of our diet, because it is within those plant foods that we have the anti-inflammatory compounds. They come from primarily, if you think about the colors, the reds, the blues, the purples, the oranges, those colors represent different plant compounds that have anti-inflammatory benefits.
Ginger and turmeric are powerful natural anti-inflammatory agents, and you want to find out how to get more of them into you. Ginger is relatively easy because we're familiar with that, and not only can you add it as a spice to food, you can eat crystallized ginger as a snack. You can also take powdered ginger in capsules, and we recommend that to patients with inflammatory conditions. Turmeric is extremely interesting. It's really the hottest medicinal herb being studied now. Very powerful anti-inflammatory agent, anti-cancer agent. It looks as if it reduces risks of Alzheimer's disease, probably because of its anti-inflammatory effect. Indians eat turmeric at every meal. India has the lowest rate of Alzheimer's disease in the world, and some people think that's due to high concentration of turmeric. There's some animal studies supporting that.
It's why I'm so passionate about doing this work, because I've worked with thousands and thousands of people like this, and they don't know how much better they can get. So then we did a study to see whether or not we could affect the progression of early-stage prostate cancer, which we did in collaboration with the Chair of Urology at UCSF and the Chair of Urology at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. And what we found was that the PSA levels, which is a marker for prostate cancer, went down in the group that made these changes, went up in the group that didn't, in direct proportion to the degree of change, just like we found in the cardiac studies. The more people change, the more they improve. We found that tumor growth was inhibited by 70% in vitro in the experimental group compared to the control group was only 9%. Also, the more people changed their lifestyle, the more directly inhibited the tumor growth. And then we did MR spectroscopy scans, which are shown here, and the tumor activity is shown in red, which after just a year begins to diminish. So we wondered, how is it that people can get better so quickly? And so we looked at their gene expression. So often people say, oh, it's all in my genes, what can I do? Well, it turns out you can actually do a lot. We found that after just 3 months of making these lifestyle changes, over 500 genes were beneficially affected. And in fact, turning on the good genes that prevent disease and turning off the genes that promote disease, particularly the oncogenes that promote breast, prostate, and colon cancer, which was shown here in what's called a heat map. Red is turned on. You can see it's mostly red at the beginning. And each one of those down here, these are all different genes that promote cancer. They get turned off in just 3 months. And so this idea that our genes are our destiny is really not true. Our genes are not our fate, and we can change that. And when you change the expression of your genes, it actually gets transmitted to your kids as well, what's called epigenetics.
body has what Dr. Gerson called a natural healing mechanism. In other words, the body is normally organized in order to heal. Yes, the body has a built-in natural healing mechanism. And Dr. Gerson was definitely of the opinion that only thing you have to do is restore and rebuild the body's healing mechanism. Actually, when the defenses are in order, your immune system, your enzyme system, your hormone system, your essential organs like the liver and the lungs and the brain and the heart, if those organs are in order, cancer is impossible. You cannot have cancer. The body has too many powerful defenses, so that cancer is, first of all, completely avoidable, and secondly, even in advanced situations, totally curable by restoring the body's ability to reactivate this healing mechanism.
What if I told you that I had a magic elixir, one that could prevent and reverse almost every chronic disease, one that could solve the healthcare crisis, one that would bring more compassion into the world? What if I explained that my elixir could help heal the planet's devastation, that it could save billions of animals a year and prevent their pain, that it could feed the hungry throughout the world, that it encourages peace, community, and benevolence? This potion, it's free of cost, and there's plenty for everyone. Would you believe me that it exists? Would you be shocked at its simplicity, mesmerized by its obviousness, eager to try it? Would you be frustrated that nobody had told you this information prior to now, like I myself was, when as a teenager, I randomly stumbled into this brilliant book by John Robbins called Diet for a New America, and it changed my life forever. Indeed, this elixir exists everywhere, and it is perhaps one of the sole commonalities we share amongst all the living on earth. It is readily available to most, and I know with confidence that it is the most potent possibility we have to save our future, that of our species, the planet, and life as we know it. Okay, granted that may seem a little hokey. I agree. At first glance, my proposal may seem implausible. But hear me out, and then decide. Eating a whole food, plant-based diet is this magic elixir, the secret ingredient to all these extraordinary outcomes. Sustaining yourself on vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds can and will provide all the aforementioned benefits.
Well, we know from the largest forward-looking study on diet and cancer ever performed by humanity, the incidence of all cancers combined lower among vegetarians than meat eaters. They're the ones that published that study showing that the blood of those on a vegan diet was dramatically less hospitable to cancer. Now, even the blood of those on a standard American diet fights cancer. I mean, if it didn't, everybody'd be dead, right? It's just that the blood of those eating vegan fights about 8 times better.
I know of nothing else in medicine that can come close to what a plant-based diet can do.
The message I'm teaching is that nobody has to have a heart attack. You don't have to have a stroke. You don't have to get demented when you get older. And yes, we can win the war on cancer, and everybody has the right to live between 95 and 105 years old in excellent health and avoid medical care.